So this is the course outline. I hope you have downloaded it, and if you do not download it, it's very important that you download the course outline. So just to show you where the course outline is quickly. So if you haven't downloaded the course outline is here. The moment you just go into your module on the LMS on the module, the course outline is here. The moment you click here, course outline, it will take you directly to where you need to. The moment you click here, it will download the course outline. So it's very important that you have the course outline. So it also directs your learning as well as when you are studying. So tonight we're going to focus on the first three uh, um, points that were expected to discuss under the course outline. If you can see all this, we need to discuss this until 13, and then before we write the examination. And exams, we just have April, and then exams is towards, I think, at the beginning of June, if I'm not mistaken there. So we're going to discuss introduction to online sources of information and knowledge. We're going to also to discuss historical background on originals of scholarly journals, and as well as the legalities of intellectual properties as well. So those are the three things that we're going to discuss tonight. Um, I implore you to pay attention, as well as to ask questions where you don't understand, and just to tell you that I will share the notes as well as on the LMS, and as well as on in the WhatsApp groups as well. So the presentation will be shared with you on the WhatsApp group as well as on the LMS, and the recording will also be on the LMS as well. So, um, excuse me. So we'll start first with I think this is the correct one. Okay, good. So we're going to start with the first content that is going to be uh, that we're required to have an understanding of online information and knowledge. So we're going to discuss the content under week one, and the notes will be uploaded under week one here as well for the notes that are for week one, and then week two notes we have uploaded under week two, and week three notes will be uploaded under week three notes as well. So just to draw attention there as well. So th- then let's discuss um now the introduction of online sources of information and knowledge. So when we're talking about introduction of online sources, online information, there's a lot of information online. Now, as educators, we are at least required to have an understanding of these different types of information, and we'll be able to now to judge and take what is really important, which one is important, which one can I use at this moment, which one can I not use at this moment. So we start with the three tiers of internet sources. We have with internet sources, there are lots of information online, and then however you need to at least differentiate or be able to know what are the tiers of internet sources, be able to identify them according to their characteristics, as well as when you go online, as well as how do you get access to these internet sources that you need to get access to, that you need to use. So we have the top tiers, the mid tiers, and the bottom tiers. And the top tiers, these are just information that these are sources of information that is reliable information, that have peer-reviewed journal information, that have peer-reviewed. The peer-reviewed journals are written by experts. The authors are there. This info. The moment you open this website, there's a name of the author, the name, the date. More information is provided on that website to say, okay, no, this article was written by who, when. This is the place of work. This is the volume number of this article. So the top tiers are those information or these internet sources where it provides information that you can rely on, that are mostly written by experts, by academics, and they are mostly academic journals, research papers, conference papers. So that is what you call top tier internet sources. How do then you access this information? So you just go online. You can be able to access this information by, when you're searching, use the word PDF at the end of your search. Just slash PDF. Then you can be able to get most of this information are mostly uploaded in PDF format. You can also be able to get them through e-journals, through your universities, universities have subscribed to different e-journals and some journals online. You can also be able to get those top tier sources on your university, on your library, university e-journals or websites. And you can also be able to get through them through your university, because some universities have subscribed to certain e-journals or journals online that you can be able to access to as well. And you can also as well access this important or top tier information on the moment you just click your Google search, or your search engines, Google Docs or Google Scholars, not Google Docs, sorry, Google Scholars. You can be able to get those information as long as you know that, okay, the moment I open this internet source, that there are these characteristics, that the author's name is there, more information is there, the date, the name of the journal, the volume, and all those things. Then you can be able to categorize to say, no, this is, I think this is a top tier source, internet source. Um, and then we go to the mid tiers. These are sources that are not really peer reviewed, and it's really and they are uploaded mostly. You are mostly finding this. The authors of these mid tiers are mostly library of institutions, or organizations, or newspapers, or ministries. So these are meters, these are sources, sort of like the author are mostly organizations. On this was written by the Library of University of Namibia, or the University of the International University of Management, or this source is from the Ministry of Education. So the organization or newspapers are mostly the authors of this meta information. And then the things that you need to consider when you are looking at meta information, they're not really expert reviewed. The experts did not review this information, so you have to be really careful and say, okay, is this really information authentic? Yeah, most of the time they're authentic, but you need also to judge their reliability and the authenticity of them as well. And the information are mostly that is shared there, it obviously reflects the organizations, the views and the understanding of the organization, does not really reflect a certain the views of a certain author. So it mostly it reflects the views and the perspective of an organization. Then we go to the bottom tiers. These are just internet sources that you can find online. You open any website. It can be an individual. Somebody can be able to go online. They have blogs. They have whatever, and and Wikipedia's. They can put on anything, as long as that we call them bottom tiers, because they are not peer reviewed. They are not really tied to an organization, that somebody that is, at least if you have shared this information, you can be held reliable. So these are just opinions of individuals. So, and then in academic, we don't really use much of opinions of an individual. So that's why it's very important you understand which one do you really need to use. Mostly you need to rely yourself on top tiers and mid tiers when you are reading, or when you are getting information and you are using in your academic, as well as when you are making decisions on information online. So the bottom tiers is, you may not want to rely on them mostly, because they just reflect the views and the perspective on an individual. That individual may not be an expert on that field. It's just sharing what his or her understanding or his views. Let me just see if there's somebody that is wants to come in. Okay, it's not nobody wants to come in. Um, so those are the three types of internet sources that you need to have an understanding on, and also you need to know which one you need to use, and when to use which one as well. So, and then we move on to the history or the background of original journals. Now we're moving the journals that we're talking about in the top tiers. Now there is a certain history of them, because they have started somewhere. And I'm going to give you just a brief history of them, not really an in-depth understanding of them. So this is a brief history of it, and you then need to go and read further to have a clarity and understanding of this history, and just to have an idea where this idea of scholarly journals or academic journals came from. So, when you're talking about scholarly journals, so we are actually just looking at this peer-reviewed documents, like I explained earlier, that experts have written, that are mostly based on facts and research, and they're written for research and project purposes. So they are reviewed, they have authors, they are based on journals, and then at least these scholarly journals are based on facts, and then they are at least something that was they are published or written according to a research that was done. So the publications represents the performance of the scholars and the scientists. So these are experts that have written papers, or somebody that have done a research, and then will be able to submit their article, and then it will be reviewed by the expert in that field, and then they can be able to say, no, yes, your article has its facts, it has facts. This research was really done, and then you can be able to publish. So that is what we call scholarly journals. Um, there's a little bit of history, or the origin of it. Beg your pardon. Yeah. So there are different understanding of this. The originality or the history of these scholarly journals, and then one author even just argues that the, actually the first two scientific journals appeared in early in 1655 there, where the journals of Descavans in France, and as well as the philosophical translation of Lunar Society in England. So those scholarly journals sort of originated from the Western world, from Europe, in France and in England as well as there. So that originality is mostly based in this European and British Europe, Britain, and Germany, where the scholars have been recording their thoughts on, and then the thought like, let's publish this, and so that at least the people out there, the masses, can be able to also to read these facts, what we have researched on. So the scholarly journals actually just it came down there from the 19th century. For example, in the 19th century, that is where the development and professional history of these scholarly journals have been. And it has now been developing and developing. And then if you can just read the last one of the first historical periodicals of scholarly journals that is still existing today from the 1850s, 59, for example, is this historical Zeitschrift, which just appeared in 1859, and then it's still there's still some sort of history and use of it in scientific journals today. So that is just a little bit brief of the history of journals. You can be able to read through the notes that are on the elements, as well as also go and search more and really just have an understanding, a broader understanding of the history of the originality of this sorry, of this what we call scholarly journals. um and scholarly journals really important in academia, in education as well. They're very important because at least they provide the authority and the credibility of the evidence of the scholarly sources. When your work is published in scholarly journals, or when you are referencing scholarly journals, it provides that your work is credible, it has an authority, it has someone that you can be able to know this work was has an authority, it was written by who, and then the credibility of your work, of your academic work, is very high compared to those ones that are not using the scholarly journals. It also provides research information to users for free. The moment you can go online, you can be able to read researched information that was researched in Europe, in wherever. You can be able to get that information. So users, as and students and scholars, can be able to get that information. So the scholarly journals are very, very important because it provides researched information that's a researcher go and research something and be able to record it and put it on scholarly journals, and others can be able to use it. That's one importance. It also gives credibility of one's academic work, like I explained. Your academic work, when you are referencing using these scholarly journals, your academic work has high credibility compared to those ones that are just using random internet sources. It also share latest findings and developments in different fields as well. So the findings and the developments in humanity, in medicine, it's recorded in these journals, and you can be able to get those information. And as well as it also gives the expert an opportunity to share their knowledge with the masses, of the info, or of the of what they've found. And what are the characteristics of of scholarly journals, when you're comparing it to other journals, like to other piece of papers, like we've that I was just alluding earlier, you look at who wrote this article. Uh, is it journalists? Is it so on a scholarly journals, the researcher or the scholar has written this article. The moment you can see that, okay, no, this work was written by Professor Ho or Dr. Ho, or there's more information that the author of this is an academic from this world or is an expert in this field. So that is one characteristic of a scholarly journal, and scholars or researchers or students in this field has written it, and and the audience here is for the scholars, the researchers, and the professionals as well. And then to and what is the purpose of the publications? To report the original research. So the moment you are reading, and you can see that this is just to really to report the original research and theories. I can be able to say that at least this is research. This is a scholarly journal compared to informing and entertaining and so on. We are going to dive into this characteristic, I think, in the next presentation. So this is the end of the first part, which is for you to have an introduction of online resources for information and knowledge, to have an introduction to know what is really what is out there online, and then the knowledge of using that information. Let me just see if there are some questions before I go to the next presentation. No questions in the chat, but you can, if any question, just type in the, or you can just be able to raise your hand or unmute yourself and ask questions before we go to the next part of the presentation. Silence means there's no question. Oh, okay. Yes. Musimane.
Hi, sir.
Yes. Good evening. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing well.
I just have a problem when it comes to Google Scholar. Most of the things when you go and Google, they always ask for payment. Like you have to pay for it before you can access it. So how we do about that?
Okay. That let me approach your question. Number one, there are paid publications, because I mean, somebody has done research, and then they've subscribed to a certain academic journals where you cannot free. There are certain academic journals you cannot access for free. There are open access journals where you can be able to access them online, for example, on Google Scholar, like we have explained. However, you can also be able to access those through your institution's app subscription. For example, an institution can be able to a university have subscribed to certain journals, for example, those paid journals where you need to pay, because you don't need to pay when you're, for example, you don't need to pay if the information is requiring you, or the journal is requiring you to pay, then you need to move on to the next one. You cannot be able to access it unless you are able to pay. But however, there are also options where you can be able to access that information through your university, because you can, the moment you access, the moment you there's some journals requires you to say, okay, get access, and then when you get access, when you click on get access, then it requires you to go to, are you going to log in on a personal account, or you are going to log in through your university? Then when you are logging in through your university, you now have to see if your university has subscribed to that journal or not. You can be able to put your student number and your password, and then you can be able to, you search the name of your university, and then log into that, and then put your student number, and as well as your password, and then you can be able to log in. If your university have subscribed to that, you can be able to log in. And then if your university did not subscribe to that, unfortunately, you either leave that and go and find another information. I'm not sure, I think she left, however, I'm just going to continue. Or you if you are able to pay, you are paying. So we have information online where you can, some are free, most of them are free. However, some you need to pay, or you will need to access through your university. Any other question? hope she's coming back. Uh, um, Usmani, you have joined. Like I was just explained when you left to say, okay, you can. There are two options there. You can either access those journals that needs to be paid through your university. You got access it, get access, and if you put in your university credentials, for example, student number and password, and see if your university have subscribed to that journal or not. If it has, then you can get access. If it has not, unfortunately, you cannot be able to get access. You only go and search other information that you can be able to get for free. I hope I've answered your question.
Okay, thank you, sir.
You're welcome. All right, let's continue. If there's no other question. Now, what is next? Okay, according to the course outline, Scholarly history, background to the origin of Scholarly, I think we have touched that. However, we still need to understand furthermore on scholarly journals and understanding of information as well. So we are going to discuss the characteristics of scholarly journals. How do you know that this is a scholarly journal? How to acquire information online. Let me just remove this. Why do you need to have skills on acquiring accurate information online, so that you won't be influenced and believe false information, because there's a lot of information online and you need to at least have skills to be able to understand this one. I need to rely on it. I do not need to rely on it to get correct information. Sorry, and also to be able to make informed decision. There are six standards or criteria, if you will, to judge how to get accurate information or trustable information or authentic information that you want to get through this journal. So the following are six things that you can be able to look at when you are going to search your information online. When you open a website, these are the other six things that you can also be able to look at and to say, okay, now I can rely on this information, I can rely on this article, I can rely on this publication or not. Number one is authority, accuracy, objectivity, currency or the date, coverage, and also as well as the appearance. Let's just run through it and then be able to understand these six standards or criteria. Authority, who wrote this information? Like I was explaining earlier, to say an academic journal or information or sources that you can be able to trust. At least there should be an author who wrote that information. And then you can also be able to say, is an expert in that field or not. You can also be able to go through, if for example, George Charles, this information was written by George Charles. Okay, you can also be able to search more information. Who is George Charles? What is his expertise in, and all those things. So you can also be able to judge further from that. Are there credentials provided? For example, he studied this. He works from this university or is in academic. Those are the things that you can also be able to look at when you open the website or a document. Does the author have experience or popularity in that field? Have you heard of that author before in that field? For example, in assessment or in whatever field, have you heard of them? Or when you are searching from that, or have you read more information talking about that person, for example? So as well as the author's website and online presence is to help identify his or her written work. For example, are the numbers of articles or publication that he has or the contribution that he has made on that field? Is there a number, maybe office number to say, or is there an email address? So those are the information that you can be able to, the moment you can get all this, there's a name, there's it's specified to say this is he works from this university or is an expert in this field. Then you can be able to say, okay, the authority, there's an authority on this particular paper, so this can also be able to say, okay, I can be able to trust this information. Okay, one can be able to read more information on this because it has authority, it has characteristics of authority. Accuracy, it deals with the correctness of information. The information, when you are reading it, you can be able to say, I think this is fact-based. The content seems to be peer-reviewed. You can be able to say, okay, no, this is a journal article and it seems to be peer-reviewed by expertise, so there's accuracy here. You can compare, also be able to compare your knowledge and the author's knowledge. You can, okay, you have read something and you can also be able, okay, I think I have a little knowledge on this, and I think it makes sense. Or you can also be able to search more information on that specific knowledge, and also be able to compare if maybe there's some similarity. You can be able to say, okay, no, this this information is accurate as well. There's also the proper citations and scientific data to support the arguments. The author is cite, for example, especially in academic, where the author is cited proper use in-text citation correctly, and then also there's a reference list, and there's also data, raw data, scientific data, graphs, and whatever that is presented in that information. Then you can be able to say, okay, no, there's accuracy here, and then okay, I can also be able to trust this information, or to say, okay, no, I think this information has some accuracy. Okay, it's trustable, it's authentic. Objectivity has to do with the correct point of view, not influenced by the personal opinion, but has to be fact based. So it does not really considers one's point of view, but it has to be has to be narrow based, to say, okay, no, this is only Charles' point of view. It has to be different. It also consider other points of view, different people's points of view, and it has to be backed up with fact. There's evidence to support the opinion. Then you can be able to say, okay, this information is objective. Currency or date. This information is the date that the information was posted online. Is it 2016, September 2022, or was it posted 1940 something? So you have to look at that as well to say, okay, this information was posted in 1995. Let me look for the updated information of 2022 or 2021 and all those things. So sometimes topics have been evolving, and scholars have been writing new information on that. So we need also to look at the date as well to say, okay, is this recent? Is this too old? That is another thing that you can be able to say, okay, now if it's more recent, then at least it has more relevant information to the time that I need to use this information. It's not too old. The coverage, the audience of the information. What is this information? Who is it written for? When you are reading, is it written for scholars, for those that at least need to understand to have a background in academic, or is this an opinion that is written for anybody? And is the content that is written there relevant to the topic as well? So those are the things that you need to look at when you are looking at the accuracy and the authenticity of the information. The appearance, how organized is if it's a website, how organized is it organized? Are the things put in order, like the date, the topic, introduction, the body, the topics, subtopics? Or is this things that are written without subtopics and all those? So those are the things that we can also be able to judge. Are the tables to present, for example, that certain tables there that are put to support the arguments, and as well as the links that are uploaded there, can also be able to click on that link and go to take you to the website that the author wants you to go. So those are the things that you need to look at when you are judging information online. Like I was saying, what are the best practices of citing online information? So this online information needs to be cited correctly. And I've really seen poor referencing in the assignment. I've started marking your assignments, and there's so much information out there that you can be able to learn on how to reference videos, documents online. And since there's laziness in reading, and also be able to understand how to cite this online information. However, so let's just go through it quickly while let me just go to this. I think there's some questions in there. Oh, I thought that was this question. Oh.
Yeah, good evening.
Good evening. Yes, how are you?
Very good, sir. How are you?
Doing well, thank you.
Yeah, let me get to the point.
Yes.
Yeah, you are going very well on that one. really like something is opening eyes for me. And
Mm.
when it comes to the side of citing,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, and referencing,
Mm-hmm.
usually very far from that since I was doing I did a degree from another institution that I was doing on distance, and it was like quite different from the thing of referencing and citing. And actually here, I don't know if I need to have my own time, maybe of calling you as a lecturer and need some help, or maybe yeah, because for me, something that I need help with.
Okay, let me just ask you. So the degree that you're studying, it was not more academical. You were not required to do some references.
Yeah, it was, but then we were provided with books. So when you are referencing from books that were developed from the school itself, so the referencing was like, no, it was I just put this information from this book here. Now, when it comes to searching and making a research from somewhere and setting it here, now it becomes like quite tough.
What did you try to read further on your own, and or maybe watch videos and so forth that you can be able to say no, I don't really understand it all, because it's quite an easy thing. But yeah, okay.
Yeah, yeah, I did try it.
Oh, okay. Now, like, let me get to your question. Maybe we'll be able to make some demonstration on references after the presentation, just to give you a brief
Okay,
a
okay,
demonstration of that. I think many will also be able to
oh,
need that. Okay.
okay.
All right. Thank you. Any other question before I go ahead?
Thank.
Fantastic. Thank you. Where was I? Best practices of citing online sources for academic purposes. Like I was saying, um, identify the referencing style of the university. What referencing style does your university requires you to use? Because there are different referencing styles. We have APA that the university, the International University of Management, accept or requires its staff and students to use, but there's also Chicago, Harvard, and others. So you look at which referencing style does your university or institution requires you to use, and then, you need to study the rules of that citation or referencing style. What are the rules? What are you expected to put in text citation, at reference list? How do you need to paraphrase? What are you expecting when you're copying and pasting, or when you're using the exact idea? I mean, the exact word without putting them in your own words. So those are the rules that you need to study on, so that at least you familiarize yourself with those rules. And then create an in-text citation. In-text citation is using references within your discussion to say, okay, for example, like I give an example to say, okay, John and Sam in 2021 posits that it's very important to use references when you are writing your academic work. That is in-text citation. You have searched that, you have gone to the internet, and you are reading John and Sam's information, and then you can say, okay, now this is John's and Sam's information. They explained, or they posited, that it's very important to use citation, so I'm going to write it. It's John and Sam in 2021, because they said there should be a name, and this is what we were referring to as the rules. What are you expected when you are making an in-text citations, or when you are citing inside in text in your discussion or the referencing? What are the rules that are expecting? So this is one of the rules. So at least familiarize yourselves with the rules. And for APA, there are a lot of videos on YouTube. Even the beginners videos, you can be able to say, oh no, how do you reference? I think I even shared a video with one student today. Were asking me about referencing and so forth, but we're going to get to that, and as well as the rules of the biographic information or the referencing list. So those are the things that you need to look at. And then, like I said earlier, we're going to look at the Scholarly journals, the characteristics of the Scholarly journals. We looked at the importance already. So what are the when you're identifying the Scholarly journals, you look at the information about the author, the audience, the structure, and the writing style. Like I was saying, who is the author? Uh, um, so the qualification, the knowledge, and so forth. I think we we have discussed this. The structure as well. The writing structure is very important. I think this is it was just really just the uh, uh, I think a repetition of what Scholarly journals are or Scholarly journals are and how to reference them as well. So again, before I go further to intellectual properties, let me just stop sharing my screen and get to this referencing thing. All right. Let's say we are going to write about. I need to share my screen again because you need to see what's happening on my. Good. Before I just give you a demonstration, let me just go to YouTube for example. The moment you go to YouTube, then you search APA, referencing tutorials or whatever. There are a lot of tutorials and videos you can be able to. It's APA 7th edition for beginners. What is APA referencing style and so forth like that. So there are a lot. So I did not. At the postgraduate level, at least you should be able to have this understanding, let me say, or at least be able to go and read more information or read more on that on APA reference and stuff. And then if you can just be able to hear from here,
ideas.
so
Words allow your readers to link your key points to where your
so
information
there are a
is
lot,
sourced.
there are really a lot of videos that you can be able to guide you on APA referencing stuff because I don't think we can finish here if you don't even have an idea of what it is. For example, let's say we are writing an assignment on importance of scholarly journals, for example, and then you go to let's say I'm going to this website, top 10 benefits of using academic journals. And then I'm going to use this. First of all, I'm going to look at this information. Okay, who is the author of this information? Is it this is a blog? This is a blogger. I don't really want to use much of the more. I think bloggers. Let me just go back to, and search. Okay, using that, like I said, use PDF because at least you can be able to get the journals are mostly written in PDF. So or the academic journals are written in PDF, so you can be able to have those academic journals in your work. And then we have these academic journals, has it or has a future, has it a future, for example, and it was written by this author, the date is here, this is the DIY, the license and everything. So there's a lot of information about the author, and you can also be able to click on the author and maybe take you to other information. And then so this is the volume number. It was written 2001 March. So those are the information that the author, the date, and all those things. So let's say we want to use this sentence. The journal Education Policy Archives Analysis is available online, free of charge, and produced within minimal maintenance cost. And so let's say we want to use this and we want to put them in our own words. We are going to start to say, okay, where's my Word? Microsoft Word. Let me just close this. In Word, in your Microsoft Word, there's a reference part that is on top there on your computer. Home, insert, draw, design, layout, references. The moment you click on references, you can just be able to click on references. The moment you click on references, there's an option for you to insert citation. This is when you are doing it with a computer. However, you can also be able to do it manually. and all this how to do it with a computer and how to do it manually is available online. So at least just search. I'm going to do this with Microsoft Word with a computer because it's much easier. So what information I'm going to use, the information that is I'm going to use here, to say, okay, this is education policy analysis. This is a journal article. It has a volume number. So what I'm going to be looking at, selecting article in a journal, because you can, the moment you click there, is it a book, is it a book section, is it a report, is it a website, it provides you all the information to watch. Which one is it, a patent, is it interview? It just depends on what are you going to reference. Is it a book, whatever? And then you can say, okay, no, it's a book. Who is the author? The author is, you go to the website. So okay, the author is Gabby Weiner, and then according to the APA referencing style, we don't write the first name. We just write the last name, and then we initiate the initials, and the initials of the first name. For example, Weiner B. Where's my example? Weiner B, and then is the title. What is the title? The name of the journal, the year. I'm not going to put all this information. I'm just going to put the year. It's 2001 and all that, and you can also be able to put all those information, for example, and then it will then automatically comes here to say, okay, you are going to use Weiner's 2001 information. However, according to the APA referencing style, if it's at the beginning of the sentence, you don't put brackets here. You remove the brackets. Then this comment is also going, and we're going to say, okay, Weiner explained, because you are putting it in your own words. You cannot just go online and say, okay, no, let me go online. This is what Weiner is saying, academic journals. This article. Let's go to here. A similarity difference, a challenge to remove print is now with us. For example, let's just look for an argument. Let me see. Despite academic publishing or distance and relevant and modest regionals, as described above, it has enlarged and diversified. For example, we are going to use this information to say, okay, Weiner argued or explained that you're putting it in your own words, that the academic publishing has enlarged and has diversified over the years, and you're sort of like you're reading what is written here, and then have it in your own understanding, and then put it in your own words to say, okay, explained that the originality or the origin of academic journals have diversified, for example, over the years, and blah blah blah. You're continuing, and then the full stop. So obviously, because if you just take this information, Weiner's information, and then put it, you can even put it in your own words to say, okay, explain that, but you don't have this part. Then the author, the reader, when I'm going to read your work, or when your lecturer is going to read your work, is just going to find this information to say, okay, the originality of academic journals have diversified over the years. I can just be able to copy this information. Okay, copy it, put it on the internet, and it obviously would take me exactly to the website, to Weiner's website, and I can be able to say, no, you took Weiner's work, but you failed to reference it. So referencing is very, very important in academic, and I really just advise you to go and read more information on referencing, APA referencing style. You cannot be able to finish. For example, the moment you just go on internet and say APA citation or referencing style, you are going to get a lot of information. APA format, referencing style, guide. You can even specify a guide to say, I want the guide, and then it's going to make you to give you a format on how to reference, to say, okay, if it's how to cite, if there's no author, use the title. one author, you reference it like this. Two author, you reference it like this. Three author if it's an organization. So there is a lot online that you can be able to get through, that you can that will teach you on point. I mean, on, step by step on how to reference. So it's very, very important that you know how to reference, not just in media and academics. You are going to require to write maybe research on other things. You cannot write research without, you cannot do research without acknowledging the authors, other people's work. It's going to be, it's plagiarism, and it gets 1-0. And then I just want, before I forget, I've started marking your assignments, and then those of you can be able to go online on the LMS, and then I've given you feedback to say there is no reference, there is no reference in your work. You have a reference list, but you don't have in-text citation in your discussion. There is nothing that is showing that, okay, this work, like I was explaining, to say this work belongs to Wayner. But however, at the reference, you have a reference list to say, okay, reference list, there's Wayner 2001, what. But then there is nothing in your discussion that it says this information was for Wayner, or there's no Wayner appearing in your discussion. How do I know that this Wayner, you did not just take it from somewhere and put it as a reference list because you want to have a reference list or not? So everything that is appearing on the reference list must also be able to appear in here. So that's why I'm saying study the APA referencing style, use videos, and all the guidelines that are on the internet. Then we continue. No question. Okay. Or is there a question? Yes, Yolanda.
Evening, sir.
Good evening.
I'm laughing myself to death here because I'm one of those culprits. I was really struggling with the referencing. I just wanted to confirm you forgot to conclude when you said we must go on our LMS to see. Did you put back our? We are still busy marking the assignment.
I think I've halfly marked. Are you done? Sorry, I've cut you talking.
Excuse
there.
me?
No, I'm
No,
saying.
I was done.
Oh, okay, thank you. I'm busy marking your work. I didn't finish. I think I have. I cannot remember, but I've marked some assignments. However, the moment you just go to your LMS, and then go on your assignment and see your grades. If you are marked, there should be. It's either I've given you a grade to say, okay, no, you scored 80% or 90% or 50% or 40%, or there's a 0. And if there's a 0, there should be feedback to say, go and put you have a reference list, however you don't have in-text citations. Go and put the reference, what you put on the reference list must also be able to appear in your discussion. I don't give zeros at the beginning because I know sometimes we struggle with references and so forth. I give students an opportunity to go and redo and edit their assignments. However, don't edit the work, just put in the reference. I even put on the feedback to say, don't change your assignment, just put in the site correctly and send, and then you tell me when to open the submission for you so that you can resubmit. So there are those of you that I've sent back your work will there will be a 0 appearing to say 0 out of 100, but you need to go and check it if it's one of you, and then you can be able to redo, put in study the APA referencing style, and then you can be able to reference correctly, and then you tell me, no, I'm done, I've referenced correctly, then I can be able to reopen submission for you. That is when I'm going to start marking, because I don't mark an assignment that is not correctly referenced.
So, honestly speaking, since I was struggling with the referencing, I was, in fact, my assignment when I was doing it, I was going on a lot of different sites. I did not know how to do the the citing and ABC. So even if my assignment is sent back to me, I would not know, because I was just trying to get a lot of different information from the different sites, and then just summarizing my own word and then just answer. So the citing for me now, how will I know where did I get that or ABCD? Because I was just summarizing everything in my own words, and then just
you take exactly, that is what I was saying, to say, okay, you either, if you have cleared your history, if you cleared your history on your computer, you can also be able to take your information, copy those paragraphs or whatever, because the moment you copy the moment I copy that, for example, and put it you put it online. It can be a paragraph or can be a whatever. It will take you. It obviously gives you all the information that is, that is related to what you've written there. It may not be the exact information where you take it, but sometimes see, this is where we took the other information, right? And the moment I copied that, it will obviously take me exactly to. So that's why it's very easy for me to detect where you took the information without even you did not reference, but that I can know that the information is not yours. The moment I copied that, I'll just highlight your assignment, put it on the internet, and then it will take me exactly to where you take that information. And then you can. I think that is another option that you can be able to use to say, okay, let me copy this part, put it on the internet, and which sources are going to appear, and then you open those sources, and then you, okay, I think this is one of the website, or if it's not the same that I used, but it's actually talking about the same thing, so I can also be able to reference this work.
Yes.
So I've
Okay,
given
that would be helpful.
I've given you that because I was going through the assignments and I was like, no. There's a lot of struggling on referencing, and I think so I've given you that chance for you to be able to redo the assignment by referencing it correctly. Because if I let you go without mastering this part, then I failed you, and and then that will not be a good lecturer or a good teacher to the students. So it's very, very important that I at least let you go through this, redo this, and master it, so that it will be able to be to be helpful as you go on with your studies.
Yes, thank you so much.
You're welcome. Okay, let me continue if there's no other question. Good. We have gone beyond an hour, but I'm just going to run quickly through the last part, which is our last part, which is the legalities and the intellectual properties that we need to have. So I'm just going to run through it, and then we'll be done. So we're just going to the legalities and intellectual properties. We need to have an understanding of that. Online information, even though information are online, there are some legalities and intellectual properties that you need to understand, that some things are owned by someone. You cannot just use it out of the blue. And the same as referencing. That's why referencing is very important, because you are using somebody's idea and you're acknowledging to say, I used George's information, and George has explained in his paper like this and like this, and that is why we reference. That is why we want to prevent plagiarism. So what is intellectual property? This has just have to do with everything that a creation of the mind, intellects. So somebody's created something, came up with something, and then it needs to be protected, at least. So intellectual property has to do with refers to the creation of mind, everything from works of arts, inventions, computers, trademarks, and other commercial signs. So at least somebody has come up with something, and then now the law needs to protect that thing, so that at least those people that are going to use it at least can be able to pay, because that is somebody's intellect. Somebody has been thinking and working hard, and that's where intellectual properties laws are coming in. So intellectual properties is any product of human intellect that is protected by law from unauthorized use by others. So somebody came up with the computers. You cannot just come up. You cannot just start from tomorrow and say, okay, I'm going to create a MacBook or a computer exactly like a MacBook, this or a Windows or whatever. You cannot do that, because the that design is protected by law, and if you come up with that thing without the owner's permission, you can be able to pay, to be sued, and all those. That is where intellectual property is coming from as well. So intellectual property includes properties such as writing, music, drawing, paintings, photographs, and films. So those, so that somebody's creation of the mind, their writings, their musics. So that's why they have intellectual rights to say, okay, no, this song is for Gaza, or this song is for the dog, or whoever, and then this you cannot be able to maybe put it in your whatever, use it without buying the original CD, for example. Like we have heard of those situations where some people have been sued or whatever. So it has to do with intellectual properties. It has the owner, the person, even though information is online, it was owned, that has the owner. So you need to acknowledge the owner, or you need to go to the owner, or get the permission of the owner to use that. So that is what we call intellectual property. So intellectual laws are protecting intellectual properties that are falling under the copyrights, the patents, the trademarks, and the trade secrets, which we need to discuss. So why does it really matter? It matters because at least it helps the innovators, the creators, to say, okay, no, we are protected, so at least I can be able to continue make this. So they're encouraging investment and innovation, so the creators can be able to continue with their work, because at the moment they are becoming innovative, their work is protected, and they can be able to get benefits and also gain from what they've come up with. So that's why these intellectual properties laws are very, very important, and they matter. There's a little bit history of intellectual properties as well, and then I don't really want to go into this deep history because there are a lot of different views. So that's why I say read more notes on the LMS, as well as you can also be able to read more on the internet. However, this intellectual property laws has been is an international law that was agreed on in Paris Convention, that was in 1883, and then also in Benin Convention, that was of protecting literacy and artistic works in 1886. So there are more than 25 international treaties or agreements on intellectual properties, and then this are also safeguarded by Article 27 of the 27 of the Universal Declaration of Human Rights. So it's really, these rights are very important, and that are recognized international as well. So one really need to have an understanding of that. So they're divided into categories. We have industrial property, and as well as with copyrights and related rights. And then industrial properties, this sort of includes the patents, the inventions, somebody's invention, the industrial designs, the trademarks, and geographical indications as well. So that is what we're going to when we're saying industrial property. However, on the copyrights, these are sort of things that are include the cover literacy, for example, the artistic or the music, somebody's performance, broadcasting, films, movies. So those are the things that relates to the copyrights and related properties. Intellectual properties and rights give the creator, like I said, the right to prevent others from making unauthorized use. You cannot distribute somebody's music without the approval, even though sometimes people do it. But then if you are caught, you can also be able to sue. So that person has the right through the intellectual property rights, and you need to also be aware of that. And that's why you also either getting somebody's permission to use somebody's work, even though you find it online. Those that are not open access, because there are certain free information that you can be able to use online. There are things that you cannot be able to use for free. Recognize domains of intellectual properties and bodies responsible for intellectual properties. For example, the copyright is a federal protection for, like I said, for unauthorized copying of somebody's performance or work. And then this has to do with now the songs, musical compositions, lyrics. You cannot just take somebody's lyrics and put it in your different melody. They can be able to sue you through the copyrights. So there are also some websites that I've placed in there. I think I've not put them in a link format. You can also be able to read it, but you can also don't be limited on the notes. Notes are just little information or little knowledge that we came together, that are placed, are put together. But you can also be able to read these notes, read the notes on the LMS, as well as different notes on different websites. The Creative Commons or copyrights and licensing also. This Creative Commons or copyleft models left seeks to expand now this common thoughts and expression of the creators. Now this Creative Commons, this copyrights, sort of like I said earlier, it sort of seeks to expand the common and the innovation and these authors to be able to express their work without fear of it being used, without them being getting paid for what they deserve. However, the owners may allow others to build upon protected work, provided that the new work is similarly accessible or usable. For example, the Creative Commons, where we have some information that are open access, and then somebody may want to get that information, may use somebody's information that is open access, that is not paid, but take that information and may want to also sell it as well. So there are those rights where you can be, okay, if it's open access, your work, and you are taking this information from my open access, your work should also be able to be open access, to be accessed by different by the masses, by different people, without you gaining from it, because it was my ideas, it was my work. Thus, Creative Commons and copylefts are actually built upon ownership and entitlement claims of intellectual works. And then like I'm just repeating myself there to say, at least, so these are built upon the intellectual works of somebody, and then they can be able to give you the rights to use it or the rights not to use it. And we have now other definitions of understanding of what some concepts of in intellectual properties, like for example the patents. A patent is the right to exclude others from making or using or selling a claimed invention through a country. For example, you have created something, and then you say, okay, I'm going to apply for a patent for the period of 10 years, and nobody's going to make this same thing as mine, or nobody's going to sell it or claim ownership because I've created it first, and I'm going to look for a patent, and then the patent is limited to say, okay, it's going to be, the authority is going to get, okay, we're going to give you this patent for the next 5 years. After 5 years, somebody can be able to make to sell this thing. So the patent rights are sort of limited. However, one can also be able to look for patent rights either online, either something that is online, for example, those musics that are posted on Google Spotify or Apple Music. So the authors has rights to those ones. And there are different types of patents. We have utility patents, where the utility patent that protects the new information of the author, the new machine or new invention, for a period of time. Like I said, it depends on the laws of the country, 10 years, 5 years. And the design as well, you have design patents that protects somebody's design, to say, okay, this is my design and I want you to protect it for the next 5 years, nobody should use it. And then plant patent as well, where for example we have this asexual propagated plants, where plants are sort of like there's an invention where somebody has created a new plant, or a build or played with plants, and also be able to create something new and then want it protected. So those are the laws or the types of patents one can be able to. And then we move to trade secrets. Trade secrets is any information that can be used in an operation of a business or other entities that is sufficiently valuable and a secret to afford actual or potential economic advantage of others. So to say, okay, now I have this business idea, this trading secret, this trading model, and then it's successful. I want other business not to use it because I want it to be a secret of my business, and I want the others not to use it. So I need to be protected. I need my trade secret to be protected because it's successful and it's of my own invention. So, however, there are certain limitations on that, because the two major restrictions on domain trade secrets are required by secrecy and competitive advantage, because you want to be competitive in your business, you want to be competitive in your innovation. However, it's limited for a period of time as well. Although trade rights are not built in expiring, they are extremely limited on one important respect. Owners of the trade secrets have exclusive rights to make use of the secrets only as long as the secret is maintained. So this secret is maintained, renewed. There might be a certain fee that you need to pay so that you can be able to maintain that secret to second. No, this idea, this innovation idea belongs to Samuel and only Samuel, and because he maintains it, because it lapses if you don't maintain it, and other people can also be able to use that idea or that business secret or whatever. And we have trademarks. Trademarks are marks or sign designed by the to distinguish your goods or services or products from others. I have examples here. Adidas. If you, for example, this Adidas. So this is a sign. All the Adidas products, shoes, clothes, whatever, they have this sign. So this is what we call a trademark. So they've designed their mark and put it on their product to say this is our mark and nobody's going to use it. It's only Adidas original products are going to have it. And anybody who has it is going to be sued because this has used our trademarks. Pep has also that sign of those 3 letters with those colors. Nobody also uses those 3 words exactly as they are because Pep has design that as their own trademarks, and nobody's and it's protected by the law to only have those as the shop that only has that trademark. So trademarks are signs that are, it can be letter, can be words, can be numbers, at least to distinguish your services or your work from others. So that is what we call trademarks. And then there's also protecting me ideas. Protecting, like, is this a repetition or a summary of what we've been discussing to say? Protection of me ideas on innovation. There are laws that are built in or that are put there to allow individuals' ideas to be protected so that can be able to innovate. And then the individuals needs to be protected, and then at least so that they can be able to be compensated of the hard work. So that at least this protecting mere ideas laws. So these are different references of this information where I took some of this information. So and that is it for tonight. That was the last presentation. I think we've gone beyond an hour. But I just wanted us to cover a lot, to cover much, because we need to finish at least before exams comes, so that at least we have an understanding. Otherwise, there is a chance or is an opportunity to ask questions. I think I'm gonna stop presenting now. Stop sharing the screen. Questions time. Yes, Yolanda. Yolanda, the floor is yours. You unmute. We
Sorry, I
cannot hear
forgot to
you.
turn the mic on.
Oh, okay.
Yes, sorry. I wanted to confirm, when I go through my summaries for the examinations, do I also include my references, or do I study with the references as well, or is that not required in exams?
No, exams you don't reference in exams. We don't reference in exams. What we reference is on these long pieces of our work, because in examination you are not going to search information. So in examination you just study, you understand. That's all. It's totally different. Examination is not the same as writing an academic piece of work. Examination, you're just answering questions according to your understandings, and then so for examination you just study the notes. You don't need to reference anything. However, on academic piece of writing, you need to reference.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
That is okay.
Yes.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Yes, Sherry Kuroro. I'm not sure if I pronounced your name correctly.
Yeah,
but
thank you, sir. Yeah, thank you, sir. The presentation was very good and very transformative. I wish we will have one more. We are going.
Yes, sorry to catch you there. We will have presentations. If you're not aware, that we'll be meeting the first and the third week of each month. So we'll be meeting twice a month. So we'll be discussing all what is required for this module before the examination.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah. Thank you. Sir. We will go read from our MLS and we will see. We will check the
Yes. So
the comments.
yeah, if you have a
Yeah.
comment, sorry to cut you there. If you have comments to say that you redo, so you need to redo that and really just
Yeah.
redo it as soon as possible, because I have to finish these modules. I have 4 modules, and I also need to mark other modules. Yolanda, your hands is up.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
You're welcome. Yolanda, the floor is yours.
This Mike. I wanted to confirm, is it not possible to have our classes before the next assignment? Because I feel like if we had this class before the assignment we did, we would have performed way better than we did.
No, we are going to, the next task is going to be, because we're going to have a variety, the next task is going to be a test, because we're going to have 3 tasks for before examination. So we're going to have a test. The test is going to be based on what we discussed. An assignment, like I was saying, an assignment it does not limit one to what is discussed, or does not limit one to what the notes and all the things. But however, I understand where you're coming from, to say if we had an understanding of what is referencing, or if we had an understanding of how to come out, how to put the ideas together and so forth. However, this is a postgraduate level, so you don't get fed everything, and we train people to think outside the box. However, but the level of understanding of students is also different. However, it's not a requirement for one, because if I ask, for example, if I'm going to give an assignment based on what I've discussed here, it's going to be very easy for you. You don't even need to read further. You don't need to think. So that is the purpose of an assignment, to really students to be able to go and read widely about it. So, but like I said, I'm not here to punish students. So the citation part, I want you to go and cite well, so that we can at least be able to get the marks that you deserve.
Okay.
Right.
For the other students, I got a YouTube video from NAST on how to reference. Maybe I'll just share on a WhatsApp group.
Yes.
Once the class is out.
Yes, you can, and then YouTube is very, very. The moment you just go and search APA, there are a lot of them. Yeah.
Thank you.
You're welcome. All right. If there's nothing else, then we can just end the meeting here. It has been over an hour. Sorry, Sherry, you said something?
Yeah, just saying good night wishes to everyone.
All right. Okay. Thank you very much. Have a blessed night, everybody. Thank you.
Good night.